before it was cool.
Yeah, and he likes to play Delver decks quite a bit. He wins with them quite a bit. You see his record is 8-2, and he's playing against Michael Derczo, who is also 8-2. Of course, Derczo is playing Death and Taxes, as we will take a look at the match and see that Rill does have a flip Delver Secrets, while Derczo has a Vial on 2, a Stoneforge Mystic, and Umezawa Shite on the battlefield.
Yeah, and that GT can really go a long ways. You looked at Darzo being at 20, and it looked like this game is shaped up in a way that figures to favor Darzo, at least for the time being.
If the game is going like this, I have to imagine that Michael is favored. It looks as though he's already cast a Sun Lance to take care of Delver Secrets. He's got plenty of lands in play. Vial on a number you have to be happy with.
Yeah, the Caracas was wastelanded, but Aether Vial will take care of that. I mean, will stop the mana issues.
Batterskull's going to come in off of Stoneforge Mystic. This is getting hard.
Yeah, I think he might want to is just doing this before Eric could get a third land and a possible Vendilion click. It's not likely, but there's no reason not to make the play main phase.
Yep. Here's a Brainstorm from Rill. Three cards added to Eric's hand. 2 will be going back on top of the deck.
And Batterskull in play. We kind of mentioned recently how Stoneforge Mystic has seen a downtick in Legacy as of late. One of the thoughts being that a lot of the good matchups for Stoneforge Batterskull have gone away. Against these slower Delver decks, though, it's still a powerful punch. Delver with not too many just hard answers to Stoneforge Batterskull. I mean, its removal speed is still Lightning Bolt, Forked Bolt.
Yeah, not a lot of great ways. I mean, decent numbers, but there's Volcanic Island from Rill.
And if that GT locks itself onto Batterskull and ever connects,
probably over.
It's probably over.
Rill taking a long look at things. I mean, he knows he's in trouble.
Yeah, Brainstorm is going to have to follow it with a Ponder.
Yeah, this is not good news.
And it looks like he's seeing a lot of his permission. You know, Force of Will among the cards he'd put back. But would have been good earlier, but the Aether Vial, I think the story here to me seems to be that Michael got a turn 1 Aether Vial, and it's just continued to do damage. It's vialed out Stoneforge.
I mean, realistically, the card here that Rill needs to find is Ancient Grudge. That'll give him a shot. He's got 1 in his sideboard.
Yeah, Derczo has both the power equipment in play.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 2 of the 3. I mean, in this matchup, a Sword of Fire and Ice is actually pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Derczo trying to bounce back here, picked up his second loss in the first round today. That was against Chris Anderson in the Death and Taxes Mirror.
But this is, I think, matchup he's more happy to play. Not to say that he's unhappy to play the Mirror, but this is part of the reason that you play Death and Taxes. You know, the main reason is because you annihilate Sneak and Show. But this is a pretty good matchup. I've always felt that Death and Taxes does pretty well against Delver decks.
I agree.
Here come the beatdowns.
Yeah, goes ahead and chumps with the Insectile Aberration. It's as good as dead anyway once those GT counters show up.
Rill will take a draw.
And I guess the question is, when we go to Eric Rill's sideboard, what high impact cards does he have? And I was gonna say, all right, this one will work, True Name Nemesis.
Here's another Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, and mentioned it before, though. There's 1 piece of equipment left in Derczo's deck, and it sneaks by True Name Nemesis.
And does he have a Sword and Fire and Ice to search for? He's got 1 in his main deck. You do wonder if it's either A, in his hand, or B, did he sideboard it out?
Well, if he boarded it out, this is trickier, but I don't think he did.
All right, there's the sword. Now here's Sarah Avenger. Pass the turn back.
Can Eric find Artifact Destruction for that Sword of Fire and Ice?
Yeah, he better. As good as Tree Nemesis is, he better. There's a Brainstorm.
All right.
Ancient Grudge, where are you?
Yep. Doesn't have the green to flash it back just yet, but first things first, he needs to not, that creature cannot get pro blue.
Well, Michael's doing exactly what he's supposed to do, which is just present a very difficult board. Here's Gurmag Angler. So in that respect, you know, he's doing exactly what he should, which is here's a very hard board to beat, and you need to find your answers with your Brainstormers and your Ponders. And if Rill doesn't find them, he's going to lose. Now, Angler's a pretty big body, but it's outclassed on this board.
Right, it's not blue or red, so it could in theory block, but it's not going to be big enough for it to matter.
See if Derczo's going to equip to the Sarah Avenger or to the Batter Skull.
It's an interesting choice here. I think at the end of the day, he goes on to the Germ token. But I could see either one being reasonable here.
Yeah, if he equips over to Sarah Avenger, the Lightning Bolt is basically a time walk. So I do like equipping to the Germ token just because, and from a general sense, I think that's just the correct thing to do.
Yeah, it does also, as you mentioned, play around Lightning Bolt better. There we go. All the equipment on the Germ token, so it is now a 6/6 Vigilance, Lifelink, Pro Red, Pro Blue, and then with the ability to do more things thanks to Umezawa's GT.
There's a Lightning Bolt to go after the Sarah Avenger.
Well played, Michael Derczo.
Yep. There will be a trigger here from the Sword, trigger for the GT, some Lifelink, a lot of stuff.
All right, so the 6/6 can pump up. He didn't pump it.
Yeah,
So
no pump.
So it deals 6 and then 2 more. So 8 total should put Eric down to 11.
And Derczo gets to draw a card as well. He'll play a Plains. And pass the turn back. Rill gonna sacrifice his Flooded Strand. Down to 10 he goes. I have a feeling Tropical Island. Yeah, because he's got to draw Ancient Grudge. Gives him the best shot to get back into this game.
All right. Yeah, so it'll have to start there. He does not have much time to do it. He gets 1 chump block with Gurmag Angler, and then it's lethal.
Not a red card. Is it a cantrip?
And that's the difficulty, Pro Blue and Pro Red. So options like creating chump blockers with Young Pyromancer off the table here.
Cataxian Probe shows a hand with Flicker Wisp in it.
And that's dangerous. Flicker Wisp, Eric might be dead this turn.
Yeah, you can Flicker Wisp out the Gurmag Angler.
Precisely.
Is that aggressive Michael wants to get?
Not at all. Which makes sense. I mean, if he wants an out to Ancient Grudge, well, I was going to say he could Flicker Wisp away the Sword. However, Eric does have flashback color. He did find the Tropical Island.
Yeah. Pass the turn back. I'm perfectly fine with the patience here from Michael.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to make any crazy moves.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's so many counters on that GT that any creature wearing it would become lethal.
He can play pretty patient here. He's at a healthy 36. This is a dig through time. Rill gonna draw a bunch of cards, or excuse me, look at a bunch of cards. 7, of course.
Does he find Ancient Grudge? That's the
I
start.
think it was the first card.
It is.
Yep.
But he needs another land to go with it if he actually... Well, he can... No, that's not true. He can wait. He can Grudge the Sword, force Flicker Wisp, and stay alive. I don't know where the end game is on this line.
Well, Flicker Wisp is going to resolve no matter what.
Yeah, and if Darzo gets a 4th land, there's some fancy some fancy moves Derczo can do with this GT. He can actually pump the germ token, move it to the Stoneforge, pump the Stoneforge, move it to the other one, pump the other Stoneforge, and then just swing with a bunch of 5-power attackers and actually make a lethal attack that way.
Yeah. Even though Rill was able to find, here's Flicker Wisp. Even though Rill was able to find the Ancient Grudge, we'll see if it ends up saving him. It'll at least give him a shot. Flicker Wisp came in and was going to go after Flooded Strand.
And that's an aggressive line here, so now Eric should be able to cash in on both halves of the Ancient Grudge. Which could be enough. I think a little, maybe jumping the gun there for Derczo. So here's Ancient Grudge on the sword. Now there's no Flicker Wisp to protect it, so that's going to work. I said Eric can cash in the other half, and I think Eric needs to.
Yeah, I think he goes after the GT here. Can't kill Batterskull.
Yeah, and it has to, because there's 6 counters in the GT, it has to be that. But this is a pretty big coup for Eric.
And this is definitely getting him back in the game. Derczo's going to gain 12 life. He's going to go up to 48. Now Eric has to, beat the 3-1 flyer because Tree Nemesis doesn't have a handle on that.
Yeah, but that's a lot more doable. He did just cast Dig Through Time. Maybe he kept a burn spell of sorts.
I like sending in with everybody there. Batterskull has to be blocked.
Right, so Eric's down to 4.
Yep.
Derczo, no life gain from off the True Name Nemesis. But can Derczo actually stabilize? Young Pyromancer, this will help. We talked about that before, how, wow.
Sudden Demise.
So we talked about before how he could start chump blocking his way through once Sword of Fire and Ice was off the table.
Commander card, choose a color. Sudden Demise deals X damage to each creature of the chosen color.
Well, he's going to choose white. And maybe Eric can turn this into a draw. I don't know if he can do 48 damage in 4 minutes.
Well, I don't know if he can actually stay alive here. Flicker Wisp does come through the vial. Put Rill down to 1.
All right.
Flying very powerful. There's some other runes.
Well, Eric's going to need another Sudden Demise. Maybe, though a Forked Bolt would work here.
No answers. Young Pyromancer, Force of Will. Michael Darzo is going to win this match here over Eric Rill, 2-1. Death and Taxes will take care of 4-color Delver, and Darzo able to bounce back from his loss against Chris Anderson to move on to 9-2.
Well, a game that in all sorts of ways was going in Darzo's favor. Eric Rill fought that one very well, and for a second it looked like he might be able to turn the corner, but it is still Darzo who gets the match.
Yep, Death and Taxes looking very, very good here this weekend in the hands of Michael Darzo and Chris Anderson. So congratulations to Michael. Again, moving on to 9-2, and I believe Chris Anderson won his round as well, so it looks like